Today we're asking ourselves the question whether old knife technology still holds up in the modern era. We're taking a look at that and more in today's episode of Knife AQ, episode 212 of the series where I answer all your questions, sharp or dull. Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the KnifeCenter.
That's the place.
Still there, still here. Welcome to the show. The show in question right now
Now?
is the Knife AQ, where we answer your questions, which come from the comments section below this video.
In the past.
Calming energy. So if you have a question, leave it below, and it might get picked for a future episode. Say hi to Thomas behind the camera, of course. Today's first question comes from Traditional Larry. And he says, hey DCA and Thomas, I'm 78 years old, and the only kind of knife I feel comfortable with is a backlock because of its safety, that the blade won't close on me by accident. I'm looking for knives with a 3-inch blade, maybe Magna Cut steel. Any suggestions? Thanks for any info you can provide. Sure thing. And you gotta love a lockback or backlock, same thing.
Traditional Larry living up to his name.
Indeed. The thing with a lockback is it's definitely not like the latest and greatest innovation in the knife industry, but I always, there's a part of me that thinks of it as like that old reliable. I do kind of think of it as like the oldest modern knife lock, if that makes sense. Popularized for sure in the 1960s with the Buck 110, but I don't know if that was the explicitly the first iteration of that style of lock. But in any case, like that's the modern kind of incarnation of it. But it is kind of, well, at this point, it's like 80 years ago. Gosh dang, no, 60. Math. Remember that BS degree I have?
It wasn't a Bachelor of Mathematics, that's for sure.
That's for darn sure. It's just like, it's that reliable farm truck that can't quit, that can't die, in my mind. Anyway, but let's answer Larry's question here. Throwing the search parameters into our website, filtering by lock type and then steel type Magna Cut and then blade length. You can do all of that. Confirmed my my internal suspicions that there's only one knife that meets those specific criteria, and that is the Native 5 Salt from Spyderco. Technically, two variants. There is a fully serrated as well as a plain edged version of the knife. I have the serrated version here, obviously. It's about $160 thereabouts, 2.95 inch blade with Magna Cut steel, full flat grind, slices pretty well, but it does, the sharpened edge is a little bit smaller because by giving over some of the real estate to this guarded finger choil right here, you've got a 3-inch knife with, you know, a huge handle, quite honestly. Really big hands can manage this knife quite well with that guarded finger choil area right there. But you got a full flat grind on the blade, slices nicely. The cool thing about a lockback as well is it's an ambidextrous system. It's symmetrical left to right. And they've maintained that symmetricality, ambidextrosity with the clip placement here, or the clip positions available, 4 of which, 2 on each side, tip up or tip down. A lot of cool stuff. Of course, you've got the FRN handles, which don't feel high end, but they are very effective, especially with the bidirectional texturing they give it right here. And Magna Cut, of course, very cool. Other options, like I said, that is the only option in Magna Cut specifically that meets your lock and blade length criteria. So we'll just expand it out to some other premium steels. There's plenty of other versions of the Native family. If you want a more premium handle, this version right here is kind of the cream of the crop right now. This is the S90V bladed version with fluted carbon fiber. Tons of edge retention with that S90V. It should easily outclass the Magna Cut steel, although it won't be as tough for rougher uses. And that carbon fiber here has a little hint of contour to it, whereas most Native 5s are flat on the handle, and it feels and looks nice. You're gonna pay a prettier penny, however. It's more or almost double the cost of the Salt version. It's about $300 right now. I mentioned Buck when talking about the lockback, and we got to put the 112 up here. The 112 Sport in particular. That's the Ranger model, the 112 Ranger. This is the Sport variant of it. Comes in about 140. S30V blade steel. Same dimensions as the classic 112, but with the addition of the pocket clip right there. It is right side only, unfortunately, so you lose that bit of, or you don't have that bit of left hand consideration, whereas everything else works the same right or left. But where was I going with this? But it has the same profile and same dimensions as the classic 112, but a little bit lighter because you've got aluminum for the metal here rather than brass, and you've got micarta inlays for a nice, more modern feel than the classic. 3-inch blade, S30V, very acute hollow grind, very acute tip. Classic. There's a titanium, slim-handled titanium version with S45VN as well, with a straight clip point. That is a bit more expensive. I don't have it in front of me right now, but that is also an option. This has got a real cool old school vibe to it. Moki. Underrated hidden gem of the knife world, for sure, no matter what model they're making, but their Kronos knives in particular. It's not the first time I've shown them on the channel, but they are just oh so perfect. Just utterly impeccable build quality, straight up classic feel. This is the Kronos mini, sorry, no, it's not mini, just the Kronos 2.8-inch version. There is also a 3.2-inch version. That one's about $278. This one's about $270. So it's, essentially, when we're dealing with that, $8 difference in the high 200s, it's basically the same price, really. Beautiful jig bone handles, beautifully finished bolster, mirror finished blade, VG10. You're not getting, a super steel, despite the price. You're getting just impeccable build quality with the classic lockback right there. Comes with no pocket clip, but it does have this canvas belt sheath that is lined with leather as well. Really cool package. Yeah, if you do want a super steel, I realize, you talked about MagnaCut, and this one obviously doesn't give you that, but it's just oh so nice. I just wanted to show it anyway. Probably the most modern feeling knife that I can offer as an option that meets your other criteria is the Tonic from Bestech. This is $306, 2.89 inches on the blade, M390 steel. Again, should give you more edge retention than MagnaCut, with the albeit with a loss of toughness in that regard. But this is a smaller knife anyway. Edge retention, very cool stuff. Titanium for the bolster right here. Marbled carbon fiber, milled titanium pocket clip, mid-mounted lockback like the Spyderco's at the beginning, and has a bit of a different feel than most lockbacks. If you go with a slow open, you can see it has sort of these steps. Basically, through the use of ball bearings in the pivot and the particular geometry on the lock bar they use, it is a flickable lockback knife, which is not something you're going to see in something like the Buck. You have to really sling it out to get it to open like that, but it's not flicky. You do get that with the Tonic, which is pretty cool. It's very nice. $300 as mentioned for that. There's a few different flavors available if you don't like the carbon fiber. There are other inlays. There's micarta. There's black blade versions. There's a what is that? That's another carbon fiber. Sorry. There's 4 versions on the site right now, at least, that you can check out at the links below. And if 300 plus is a lot, and you want to break it up into easier payments, been mentioning our Sezzle payment options for a while. I'll go ahead and mention it there. You can break it up into 4 payments, I believe. But anyway, here's, basically 4 options you can check out. Hope that helps. Folks in the comments, if you have any alternates, drop them down below as well. Now we come to our Damyr's Buried Treasure segment, where we're moving through the alphabet, picking a brand from each letter and showing something that has never been seen on the channel before. Today we're on E, and the Eck knives. We have never shown the presentation version of the Eck dagger, and it is a looker right here. 6.6-inch blade thereabouts, double-edged, 440C mirror polished front and back which means Thomas is going to love getting his close-ups, of course.
Oh, boy.
But we got
Well, at least it's not a slip joint.
There you go. You don't have to put your fingerprints all over it. That's right. This is just a classic World War II era knife. It's not vintage from World War II. It's made, currently manufactured by K-Bar. Full tang handle, full tang wood handle scales, scalloped out the way they came. These would often be modified by soldiers to fit their hands. In particular, the original Eck knives actually shipped with a slip of sandpaper where you could do exactly that. And you've got the standard cross hatch, or what's the word I'm thinking of, Thomas?
Oversized Phillips.
Oversized Phillips. Yeah, the X words, these things, with these things on them. Makes it very easy to adjust in the field with improvised tools if you needed to do that. Goodness gracious, what is happening to my words? I apologize, folks. Comes with a leather sheath right here. I don't know if this is kind of period correct or not, but it is rather nice. Check it out. It's American icon right there for sure. All right, now we come to the lightning round for today. First comes from user Y1DL2Me2P. It's hard to tell if that's an auto-generated username or not.
I use it as a Scrabble word.
There you go. Thank you, DCA. I don't own any Spyderco and never will any blade with a hole in it. It is against my religion. Weird religion. But I can get behind any religion that promotes fixed blades over knives with holes in the blade because, every folder has a hole in the blade somewhere. Where do you think the pivot's going to go?
The Spydercos are holy.
Are they hallowed?
Some are ground hollow.
Very few. But anyway, next up, James Slyle. If you had to pick only one folding knife between $300 or $400, what would it be? I looked through my collection to see what I had in that price range, and I picked my two favorites, one being the Tactile Rockwall. Base models of this actually come in at $299. It's basically $300. This is the discontinued KnifeCenter exclusive version with the gunstock inlay right here. This is one of my favorite knives to carry in a more gentlemanly situation because it's elevated but not too blingy. I dig that a lot. Magna Cut 3-inch blade. And probably more special feeling is the Freak from Benchmade. S90V steel, 350 bucks at this point in time. The thing that's special about this is the full carbon fiber handles. You got the bit of liner coming back to the screw right here, but otherwise carbon fiber all the way, which gives this knife a very light in the hand feel, even with that hand filling grip. And it just feels super, super special when you pick it up. That said, I use the Tactile more often. In fact, we were in the previous week's episode, we were talking about, do you only really need 3 pocket knives? And if I were down to that, this would be one of them for me. But that's what I already have. If I had to pick one new thing, it would be this. The Eck Integral Folder. Good opportunity to bring out the X twice, basically. This is not an Eck branded knife. This is actually a collaboration between Les George and Alan Elishewitz, but it's got the classic Eck knife styling. There is the spear point version right here, or the Dirk blade as the website calls it, and a double-edged version. Give me the Dirk one right here. 3 3/4 inch M390 blade. Sits right at the $400 mark. Integral titanium handles. You've got the that thing with the X hardware on it on the back here, acting as an over-travel arrestor, which is pretty cool. A cool way to integrate the visual cues of the Eck knife into a functional form on the folder there. Pivot, same thing. The ones on the front here are just aesthetic, of course. It's just cool as heck. And probably not one I would wind up buying myself, but if I owned it, I would be very, very happy. So that's my pick. What are y'all's picks? $300 to $400 price range knife. Pick one, go. Drop it in the comments. And now we come to our final question of the day, which is, of course, our most seriousest question of the day, which comes from David Hartwig. Hey, DCA and Thomas, almost every week the subject of gentlemen's knives come up in a positive light. But what if you're not a gentleman? what knife would you recommend for the least gentlemanly person? Going just by name, it's got to be the freak, right? The super freak, especially. I don't know. I don't feel great about that answer. So again, I'm gonna lean on the comment section. Do you have a better answer for the least gentlemanly knife out there? And you can't say, what can't you say?
Cold steel.
No, I'm not gonna ixnay cold steel from the list.
The Espada.
Rich made. You can't pick a rich made. Anything else? Fair game. Throw it in the comments. Well, that's all we've got for today, folks. Keep your questions and your most seriousest questions coming in the comments section below. If you've got some better or at least alternate answers to what I provided today, drop them in the comments too. And if you want to get your hands on these knives, check out the links in the description, which will take you to KnifeCenter.com. Where don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program, because the least thing we can do when you buy one of our knives today is give you some free money to spend on your next one. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera, and we are signing off. See you next time.